Hello and good evening.
Hello. Welcome to another live. I'm Whitney, and this is Braden. And today we're talking about scarcity. Actually, the whole theme for the rest of the month is
scarcity mindsets. And you guys, we already know what scarcity is, right? We know that it's the negative half of our emotions, our mental state of being. It's the I can't and I won't. Go for it.
Scarcity isn't just the lack of money or resources. That's the symptom. The root, it's a belief, a deep, gnawing wound whisper that says, there won't be enough for me. I have to control this or I'll lose everything. I'm not safe unless I hoard, hide, or shrink.
My turn. Scarcity doesn't always scream, you can't have that. Sometimes it whispers, not right now. Be realistic. Wait until you're more ready. Scarcity doesn't just block us with fear, it rewrites the story before we even realize we're saying yes. We were saying yes. It sneaks into the almost yes, into the logical no, into the convenient maybe, and the moment we give it authorship, we hand over our power. And tonight we're calling it out. We're recognizing how scarcity shows up in our lives in the most subtle forms of it, so that we can address them accordingly and get that kind of crap out of our lives so we're not standing in the way of our own manifestation and abundance. All right, you guys, give me a second. I gotta jump on here through the so I see the live.
Gotta go to a salon.
I did it again. Sorry, guys.
I gotta go to a salon today, and I got my dreads retightened and styled, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful, but there's this one piece that just.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's in my face.
I like it. I think it looks good. You can see a discernible difference in your facial expressions and how you feel about life. I mean, that's like how you're supposed to feel after any kind of like hairdo dealio thingy, whether it's cutting it, coloring it, styling it, all of the above in it. I just recently got an eye appointment done. I'm wearing contacts. I thought I'd never go back to those because they were terrible the first time around. You know, it was 15 years ago. And I can almost read the letters on that screen.
Speaking of, we have quite the crowd today. I think there was a Lindsay, Steph's here, Rick's here, Summer's here. I think Bailey's here.
You can read all that?
Well, I saw him pop in. Thanks for joining us today. If you are new in, I'm Whitney, and this is Braden.
We are on our own self-evolving journey towards being able to do more mentorship and guidance-oriented work. And it has been not the ride I was expecting. Oh, gosh, Laura, every Wednesday without fail. And I tell him every Wednesday, hey, I'm doing my life. Hey, doing my life.
He just has this feeling, you know?
Yeah, one, he's got something he probably wants to celebrate. You know, it's normally what it is, and it's awesome.
Join us, Laura. You could pop in here.
Yeah. That would be wild. Oh my gosh, he would get so much from these. And I bet he'd have so much to add. He'd pick my brain apart. I'd be about it. Anyway. I guess I gotta move us forward because I'm leading this live today, guys.
This is something Braden is very passionate about.
Yes, I guess I should start with that because, I had a conversation with my buddy Dan way back in the day. I think I was like 23, 24, 24 or 25, somewhere around there. And he had mentioned scarcity mindset, and it was really tied to not just having a lack of things. Where it started for us was like being cheap, right? Like buying things that don't last. You know, you're going to spend within your means. We're not saying spend extravagantly, But on those things that you're going to depend on, like your work shoes or tools or what have you, like if you can and you're willing, save up that extra little bit or be willing to spend that extra little bit, because you really are investing in you. And that's like the very, very, very beginning for me of stepping out of scarcity mindset, because I am a very cheap person, or was. I've since worked on that, but yeah, for a while there, ooh, it was rough. And but I realized that scarcity mindset is really sneaky. I mean, it's a lot like control. It shows up wearing masks, and it's not what you see it as, and until you become really aware of seeing where that process starts to hit. Ah, man, it's rough. It's hard. And you get in the way of your own manifesting, because you're casting a lot of self doubts that you don't even realize you're doing, because it's so ingrained in your everyday way you handle life, you know? So, that being said, we're going to step into example number 1, the almost yes pattern. And it's more like a story that we're going to start with. So, let me paint it like this. You see a job, a program, a trip, a creative opportunity, and something in you lights up. That's the full body yes, the pull of desire. And then come those afterthoughts. Am I qualified? Can I afford this right now? What if I don't follow through? Suddenly, what was a yes becomes a long pause. You call it discernment. You say you're being wise, vigilant, frugal, what have you. But what actually happened? Fear hijacked your voice. The yes didn't disappear. It just got smothered in logic. Your body still aches with what could have been, but your mind's already rewriting the script. So, when you pull back from that yes, think about a time when you had an almost yes moment and you pulled away from it. Was it intuitive, or was it just fear wearing your own voice? Did that feeling of resistance, did it rise from your heart, or did it come from your mind? I have found that more often than not, when it comes from the heart, that means take pause. It may not be a hard no, but it may be, let's really address the current yes that I'm looking at. But when it comes from the mind, more often than not, it's saturated in that logic, in that really sensible, let me just talk myself out of it, because we already do it with laundry, we do it with dishes, we do it with the fun times that we could have with friends on the weekends, because we like to have our own personal time, regardless, what have you. The examples are many. But as you do that, oh no, I lost my place. As you do that, your body starts rewriting the script. It starts taking away from you. And before you know it, you're taking your own yes away. You're not giving it a shot. You're not giving it a chance. You're not giving your voice, your body, your soul a chance to have it say.
It makes me think of when I wanted to start the group, and I didn't think I was qualified. I was really excited to start the group, and I was like, I felt that yes, like, oh wow, I feel like this is something I should do. And then, well, what do I know? I'm not an expert in anything. Who am I to say anything? Like, I mean, yeah, I've researched a lot and I've watched a lot of videos, and like, it's something I'm passionate about, but like, I don't have a degree.
Oh man, I so feel that.
I can't I can't do that. I can't stand in front of people
And
over
start
the
telling them
internet and
things.
telling them things like it's a fact. Oh, I'm not qualified.
So what made you change your mind?
It was fear. I identified it as fear, and that
Then
wasn't
worked back.
enough.
It wasn't enough.
Yeah, that just meant it was a challenge. I just had to push through because
I
it was
see.
fear. It wasn't like any logical reason that I can't do this.
Like fear is, it's one. Yeah, well, and once you recognize the fear in it, then that's where logic should start to take place, right? Because if you put logic before fear, you're gonna justify fear into existence every time. But if you're willing to allow yourself to find what that fear is, and then start putting logic to the fear you have, then you really start to break it down and see it for what it is. You're like, oh well, I guess this actually goes back to that one time that my brother said I couldn't do it at a bake sale in third grade, and he wasn't wrong, but he wasn't right, but he wasn't necessarily wrong. I was thinking I was gonna smash it out of the park, but here we are. And I sold a few things.
But you did it.
But you did it. See, so, and that's like a very off the wall example, but once you start identifying those fears and seeing where they lay, you'll realize that it's like, it's immature. And not that you're immature, but you see it. You're like, gosh, man, like that was so long ago. I've grown up so much from this, and I've had so many more instances similar to this. And I was able to manage my way through, whether it was because it was forced on you through a job or you just felt super compelled to step into it and own it. That's where it starts. This is what we're trying to recognize. This is what we're trying to find. When you pull back, wait, no, hold on. Did I already ask both of them? No, I didn't. Was your pause really wisdom, or was it a story fear wrote after your body already said yes? Because if your body says yes, man, that's your soul. That's your you being like, oh, this feels good. So then follow that this feels good. Map out that this feels good. Let that be what inspires you. Oh, no, it's my grandma. She never calls me this. Well, we'll see if she calls me again. If she does, I'll take it. Otherwise, man, it's like the universe. I'm sorry, not the universe, but there is opposition happening. This message is dying to be interrupted one way or another, destroying my thought processes. I don't know. It's whatever. But
was it your pause? Was your pause really wisdom? That was the other reason that I decided to go for it, is because it came afterwards. I felt that. I felt that pulse. Like, oh, wow, I've never felt something so strong before. And then there was the fear and the doubt, and like, I couldn't do it. I wasn't good enough. And then it was like I was having a conversation with a different person who was like, you can't do that. What gives you the right to go up and do that? You're right. Oh my gosh. Wait, you know what? You, whoever that is, I'm passionate about it. Like, yeah, but you're going to make a Facebook page and like go and do that and think people are going to join. Well, you know what? You know what? It's going to reach the right people. And that's all that matters.
mine is I'm not ready yet. I don't have enough. Like, once I get this thing set up, then I'll be ready. Oh wait, once I do this, then I'll be ready. Oh wait, actually, this is going to take a lot more. I got to do these steps to even be there. So I'm not really ready. I don't even know if I want to start this now, because there's a lot more than I realize. And, oh gosh. And so like, that's been my big trying to break through. So now when I start having those thoughts of like, oh no, I've got too much, that's when I just cut myself out and I'm like, hold on. What do I need to achieve first?
That's
like,
so
I already
different.
saw the end results.
It's so different.
And I tried to work backwards, and I realized there's way too many steps. Like, I jumped way too far in the future with what I was trying to accomplish. So like, how do I scale it way back? Can I just like pick something a little bit closer to home and maybe scale back from there? Kind of like how you were talking about what you would like to do for your membership, and how it's just like, and then we had to cut it down and readjust what
well,
it
that
is.
came
really
after I decided to do the business. After I decided to turn it into a business, I was like, whoa, I could do this. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. I don't have enough time. How am I supposed to do this? It's like, whoa. Bring it back down. We're here right now, Whitney. What's the next step right now?
Yep.
Like, oh my gosh. I blew up way big. I had to come back down.
Man, mine was my ClickUp. I finally had to realize like that I got a good enough start on it. I can start using what I have, and the rest will fill itself in when I'm ready. And that was really hard. That was like a solid 3 weeks of fight with myself of trying to hurry up and finish the ClickUp. And it's like, that's not how this goes. So, sorry, Laura. You can text me if it's super important. You will text me. I'm sorry. I gotta get this message out. All right. Onward and onward. Gosh, this is so choppy. I love it. It's the stop go awkwardness that I just super enjoy. By the way, you guys, feel free to insert any of your thoughts, comments, opinions, feelings, the likes. Doesn't always have to be just us. Like, we talk as much as we do to fill the gaps. By all means, yeah, the truth is often challenged. And it's being challenged right now, Rick, I swear. All right, example 2, the convenience of compromise. So now we're going to flip it. Scarcity doesn't always block a yes. Sometimes it lets you have it, but only on its terms. Let's say someone's birthday is coming up. This year they want to make it real, sacred, celebrated. Then a work trip comes up, same weekend, same city, so they think, why not just take it all on one? Stay a little longer, celebrate while I'm already there. Sounds smart, right? Efficient, practical. But that's not abundance. That's a sacred moment being squeezed into leftover space. That's the belief that I can honor myself, but only if it's convenient, only if it doesn't take up too much space or cost too much money. That's fear-based practicality. It doesn't deny the desire. It just edits it until it becomes small enough to fit inside a sensible life. And I think
That sounds
this
like
one,
mom guilt or parent guilt, period. Because I know dads do that too.
yeah,
I can't buy that. I'll just use the same pair of shoes for the rest of the year until they wear down. I don't need another pair of shoes. The kids need this and that, and I don't need them.
yeah. Or it's like going out to go to your favorite restaurant only to find out it's closed that day and being like, I guess I'll settle for something not so great because this is what I wanted, instead of either replanning it for another day or finding something that hits the spot the same way instead of just crapping out. Because I know, I'm not saying this is everybody, but I have come across people that, like, once their expectation isn't met, then not only do they get a poopy attitude, but then, like, they make poopy choices. They're like, well, I guess we'll just go to McDonald's. I was like, whoa, bro, like, you don't have to go from Jake's to McDonald's, okay? You could at least be nice to yourself and go Jake's to Applebee's. It's still a sit down restaurant. You still got choices. Like,
Gosh, I feel that. I feel that.
Oh,
I
do you?
feel that
Oh.
so hard. I do. If we made plans, I'm telling you, like if we make plans and then it doesn't happen, I get brokenhearted, like a kid. Like I am so crushed. Like there's not going to be another opportunity. It's a missed opportunity.
And that's like almost its own scarcity mindset.
Oh, and then if we finally make it and we get all the way to the restaurant and it's closed, like, okay, well, we're out now. We still got to do something. Like, okay, we'll go to the next place. Okay, well, they close at 10, so we only have like an hour. Gosh, that's not enough time. We got to find a restaurant that's going to be open tonight because we're already out. It has to happen. Oh my gosh, I feel that in my bones.
Wow. Wow.
I do.
We found a scarcity mindset. I love it. And maybe that stems from childhood, from like the fact that maybe when your parents took you out to go somewhere, someplace was closed, they either tried to scramble for the next best thing, or they decided that they weren't going out that night, and then they wouldn't plan another night. It was just, that was our chance. We missed it. We just carry on with our lives. Maybe either of those two are like the push that makes you feel so strongly about the situations. Something to reminisce on. Yes, this one was especially my favorite because I think this is the one that is most often practiced. Like these two, they go hand in hand. You see a lot of the, well, I can push this away for later. I can do this another time. I can shift my schedule around. But this one, I feel like the settling, as I'm going to call it, and it's not necessarily that you don't ever settle in life, that you don't ever make the compromise, that you don't ever have the sacrifice, but it's really recognizing whether it allows you to have a compass. So it's not just one way or another all the time. There can be moderation in it, and you can know what really isn't for you and what you should go for based off of your intuitive feelings and your brain thoughts, so on and so forth. So that's why we're bringing it to your awareness, so that way you can recognize when you start picking up these patterns. And as you start picking up these two patterns and recognizing them in your life, other patterns are going to emerge because scarcity hits so many different areas. So what this does is it just starts making you self-aware to your own thoughts, to the way your brain works, to where scarcity sits in your life, how to let go of it, because as you chip away at it, you will see abundance. The impossible becomes possible. The crazy miracle, like, oh my gosh, money just showed up on my doorstep, really becomes more feasible. And more often than not, the irony of the universe likes to throw it to you in the way you weren't expecting because it doesn't like to be proven right, just like the rest of us. Like, we want to be able to say that we're all mystical and powerful and mysterious and we just have this way about us. Well, the universe is the same way. God, what have you, however you choose to believe, like,
I am magical. We are magical.
We are magical. Exactly. So it's allowing yourself to, like, believe in that a bit. Go back to being a kid. Let your imagination run rampant. The imagination never hurt anybody, right? Like, you can dream as big as you want. You can get as vivid as you want with it. As a kid, you loved it. You got immersed in your own world.
Sometimes, though, I think I go too much or too analytical because, like, I don't know. Have you even gotten to that question?
No, I haven't even touched the questions yet. Do you want me to start with them? Where have you let fear dress up as logic and call it a smart move when deep down you knew it was a soul shrink?
I've had 2 opportunities to go to Las Vegas. And I feel I feel like it's a missed opportunity because I've said no both times. And each time I was scared to go because Vegas is big and I've not been to big cities, and the idea of going and being around that many people on one sidewalk is just outlandish. Like being at the Montana Fair at peak hour.
That's neat.
All the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All the time.
I don't know.
That's terrifying. But beyond that, I've had. I feel like it was a smart move not to. Like, I wasn't prepared to. It wasn't something that I planned to do, and the idea of going with the crowd that was going wasn't
maybe the point
something to me. But each time I look back on it, I think it's a missed opportunity.
Well, maybe it's allowing that to be okay, acknowledging that it was a missed opportunity, knowing that you weren't ready, but doesn't mean that the opportunity is never going to come around again. Because you've become aware of it, you've gotten to work with it, you sat with it, you understand it. Once you let go of that missed opportunity feeling, I feel like you'll have another opportunity of similar proportions coming in. It may not be Vegas.
I don't want to go right now.
Well, and that's not for you to decide, right? Like,
but if it comes up again, it's like, holy crap, man! Do I need to go to Vegas?
But that's like,
I want to go to Vegas.
Well, and that's the beauty of it. But everything comes at its time.
Do I want to go to Omega Mart? Hell yeah! But nobody that's planning these trips wants to go to Omega Mart. This isn't my trip.
So then
Yeah.
So you'll know when the right time comes. Still that,
like, lingering in the back that's always nagging me. You missed an opportunity. Why didn't you say yes?
I think that
you were scared.
I think that's just because you're not acknowledging the fear. Once you acknowledge the fear, then you don't feel like it's missed opportunity.
I feel like I acknowledged it each time because that was a big factor. Large crowds.
So you recognize it and you still decided, like, this isn't for me. But then own that. That's okay to be that way, right? It's okay to say, no, I'm not ready.
I don't know.
Even if it's fear-based. Like, here's the thing. Just because you see all that fear, like, think about it now. The next time that opportunity comes up, are you going to give it even just a little bit more thought than the time before? Do you think maybe you'll wrestle with yourself just a little bit more than the time before? Because if that's so, then you're really just learning how to shrink the fear until it's manageable enough to be able to step into the action. And that's part of the process, right? So you don't have to feel
like I would worry a little bit less.
Yeah. Yeah, see, so you've already made progress. So it's not like they're missed opportunities. You learned, you're growing. Sure, yeah, you could have went and had an awesome experience. But just think how much more you're going to enjoy it because how ready you are for it now compared to how ready you were for it then.
I want it to be my trip.
Well, see, there you go.
Not my trip, but like
something that you would do with the people that bring you along.
Yeah.
And you may have to be the one to choreograph that. You never know. Or you come across that one wild friend that's like, we're going on a vacation and you can't say no. You never know. The world's your oyster.
That's true.
What what sacred thing have you recently tried to squeeze in instead of carve space for? That's a good question.
What sacred thing have you recently tried to squeeze in?
My work, building my business. I've been trying to squeeze it in between the stuff that I'm doing instead of just giving it its own space and time to do things.
House chores.
House chores. I
Mm,
could think of one that you've been talking about a lot that relates to this question. Your trip to Washington. Maybe.
ugh,
Possibly. I
I don't
mean,
know. We haven't planned that at all.
so now does it feel like a squeeze instead of a carve out?
Mm, I mean, the time's set aside,
Mm-hmm.
but the planning hasn't happened,
Mm-hmm.
and that bugs me.
But why
But
hasn't
that's
the plan
because
happened?
I'm a list person.
But maybe there's more underlying reasons as to why. Maybe it's not the fact that you haven't had the time to like address it. Like more often than not, have you noticed the things that we think we need to address right away end up finding their time to be addressed, and you were like stressing up about it the whole time, like a whole week's worth of stressing, and then in one moment it's just like bam, done, handled. I got the
That's
understanding.
always what happens.
Exactly. So
Are you?
so if you're feeling like this about your thing and you haven't planned it and it's getting super close, then maybe it's because it's not alignment. Maybe that's why there's such resistance towards making it happen.
Oh my goodness, that's too simple, Brayden.
That's the beauty of it.
It's got to be more complex.
No, it can't. That's how scarcity works. That's the scarcity mindset. That's why it works, because it's so simple you miss it. It just howdy doody, officer, as he walks on by and you don't realize he's got 3 pounds of coke in his other pocket that you can't see. That was out there. Don't mind me. But like that's how I feel.
How improv works.
Cause I can't stand that scarcity mindset slips by so sneaky. Like man, like it's not a bad thing. You get to see your own growth with it. But man, let me tell you, the amount of empowerment you're gonna feel being able to recognize and step past these things, man. All of a sudden,
just trust.
Yeah, well, because it builds it in a weird
Go
way.
with the flow.
In a weird way, it builds self-discipline. And it builds a dynamic self-discipline. It's not something that's rigid in form. It's something that stands to the experience that you're currently in. And that's, I think, the beauty of learning how to adapt with your surroundings and find that flow, if you will. It's not just saying, okay, universe, I don't know what you're doing, so I'm just going to sit back. Like we have those moments, but there are other times where we got to recognize that it's our own choices that are getting in our way. It's our own thought patterns that are getting in our way. And we've been made well aware of the obvious ones.
Fear, to control,
anger, jealousy. Control is a huge one. Control in and of itself is a form of scarcity mindset, in my opinion. But like all things, you can't bastardize it, right? Like ego is something that we talk about, the ego death, but to recognize that ego has its place, it's our outward expression, it's who we show the world as we are. And if that's the case, then it's got to be the same with all of our stuff. So if control,
I like survival mode.
But if control, but that's
not that I like it, but like
it's convenient.
No, just that being.
But here's the thing. So control isn't something you're trying to get rid of. It's something you're learning to understand so you can have a symbiotic relationship. I feel like
instead of ego, it's survival mode.
Yeah, you could go with that. Your ego acts from your survival mode. Once you lose those things from your survival mode,
that fear wrapped around the control. And I feel like that part of ego, if you will, is the need to control.
But then like how you come to the table with people in your everyday, what is that?
You wanting to control how people perceive?
No. I'm just saying like how, because you're going to show up as your authentic self, right? Mm-hmm. But that's still your ego. Your outward expression is what ego is. Right now, it's wrapped in fear and control because It's survival because that's what we know. That's how we built our ego. But now that we've like addressed all of that, we've stepped away from that. We're stepping into our authentic selves. We're acting authentically. We do the things that we want to do. We're giving ourselves permission for our outward expression to be as we want it to be. So if you want to show up with a lot of bravado and have these crazy, wild sentence structures because that makes you feel like you can have that. That is an expressive ego in its divine masculine or divine feminine. You know,
That's embodiment.
It's embodiment.
I still feel like it's about control. You, in that way, it's about embodiment. But about if it was like from the control side of ego, it would be like
so then
self-abandonment. So you are trying to be something that they would like.
Well, so then let's just build the bridge. So then the control doesn't switch. It's all control. Mm-hmm. But you're going from one polarity to another. So instead of trying,
one's not control, one's embodiment.
Well, and embodiment is its own form of control,
not right? For how they perceive you. That's embodying
who you are authentically.
Yes,
but it's still ego. Ego just takes on a different role.
Not from control.
But not from control. I agree, 100%. Not from, okay, I can get behind that. Not from control. Okay. But control has its upsides. Control does have its upsides. You can use it effectively. You can use it productively. Like, it's not controlling the situation. It's controlling how you're going to respond to the situation. It's not controlling how this child is going to move forward from this point forward. It's controlling your emotional standpoint so that you can meet that child on their level and find understanding and common ground.
Like healthy control.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and we have all these things in our life for that reason. Like a lot of the stuff that we chase and we bastardize and we're like, we don't need this in our life. We don't need that version of it in our lives. We don't, because we live a life of duality. It's all both sides of the coin. So it's learning to find the balance. It's learning to understand how both sides work in synchronicity with each other to build the life that you want. Sometimes you do have to control a situation. You have to be more in somebody's face about getting what you want, because just trying to have conversation with them isn't enough.
I don't know. You can almost say control and self-discipline.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Maybe one is the other
the
form
need
of the
to
other.
Control, and the other one is self-discipline.
And the need to control switches over to self-discipline, because as you learn self-discipline, you realize control is something you no longer need.
Yes.
So we've gone from the survival over to the divine. Oh, and now that's my daughter. I'm gonna have to message her back real quick and tell her I'll message you back. She's learning how to read. She's doing a lot better with it. Oh, I like this. We got off on a big tangent. What was the other ones we were talking about? Because I kind of like to bring up those. The third one, at least. Oh, no. I just sent a message to you. Read your message,
I'm losing it. Something to do with hoarding.
Oh, that was the fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
We can go with that one, though. So another form of scarcity mindset is stepping into the realm of thinking you've got to take every opportunity that comes your way, because if you don't, you're never going to get that opportunity again, or you've only got so many of those opportunities that'll show up before you no longer have access to them. And that's not really how it works. It's okay to miss out. Like we were talking with you, it's okay to miss out on those opportunities if you really aren't ready. And you may have regrets and angerments and so on and so forth when you make those choices, because you know deep down that is a yes. For whatever reason, something of that experience is the yes. But right now you're just trying to distill it and dilute it down to what that yes actually is, because you're not sure, and that's why you're saying the no. So don't be afraid to say no, just as much as don't be afraid to say yes. Don't be afraid to miss out on an opportunity if you really aren't ready. And if you aren't ready, then find out what it is that doesn't make you ready, and then start working on that. So when the opportunity comes up again, maybe you will be ready. Now, if you turn that opportunity down and then you're not going to do the work afterward, yeah, that's going to eat at you. It's going to stay with you because deep down it's a yes, and then you're trying to figure out what it's going to take. And if you're not willing to have that conversation with yourself, you're not going to know what it takes to be able to experience your yes. And remember, your changes happen with you. Like, call it a darker thought pattern, but I truly believe like change happens when you are finally sick enough of yourself to make the change. There will come a time where you're tired of looking at that person in the mirror and you're going for broke because you literally got nothing else. There's nothing else that 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 can happen. You can only move up from there. And if you choose not to move up from that point, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have an answer for that one yet, but you'll see it. It'll be a very strong desire, and you'll start making the changes. Start doing the things. You'll start looking for those help groups, those people in your life that are going to push you and propel you forward. So if you haven't gotten there yet, don't lose hope. You'll get there. And if you have got there, congratulations. Continue doing the work. It's worth it every step of the way.
Mm. Changes start with you.
Scarcity doesn't always sound like panic. Sometimes it sounds justified. It wears logic like a mask, and it edits truth into something more palatable. But here's your litmus test. Does this choice expand me or shrink me? That's it. That's the only real question. If fear holds the pen, you won't even realize you're being rewritten. So this week, I dare you, catch the rewrite, reclaim the pen, and speak your yes before fear gets a chance to proofread it. Step into the unknown, jump off that cliff. Watch yourself fly. Or fall into a really big, fluffy pillow. Whatever your choice, right? Both are awesome outcomes. And
I feel like words have power.
Okay.
So if we're going to switch from scarcity, we're going to transition to abundance.
Yes.
So if there's scarcity in time, you feel guilty resting. You rush through your pleasure. You say, I don't have enough time. And what you really mean is, I don't feel safe letting go. So if scarcity tells you rest equals laziness, switch the mindset to abundance. Rest equals nourishment. That pleasure that you're enjoying, that is for you. You have earned that.
If you're going to impose a time limit, then at least give yourself the joy to let go for the time limit. If you're going to give yourself 15 minutes, don't lie to yourself. Give yourself 15 minutes. Appreciate it in whatever way you can.
You
do it.
Keep track. You keep track. So if you don't hold to that 15 minutes that you give yourself, then when you don't show up for yourself and stay for that 15 minutes, oh my gosh, I lost the word. You let yourself down. There you go. When you let someone down. You let yourself down.
You do.
And once you do that once, then your inner you feels like you're not going to show up again.
Oh, and think about it. Think about a time when your mom didn't show up for you, your dad didn't show up for you, your brother, your grandma, your friend, a very palpable moment of the letdown. And remember, that is the same feeling you're giving yourself when you're not willing to start taking these steps, man. Start choosing you.
Scarcity in love. You overgive to be chosen. You shrink your needs. You stay quiet when you should roar. You feel like you have to earn affection. Scarcity says, I have to prove that I'm worthy. Switch the mindset to abundance. Abundance says, I already am. Come correct or keep walking.
Yeah. And when you start choosing abundance over the am I enough or do I deserve it? Like, the question, there should never be a question. It's not do I deserve it? It's I'm deserving of this. I'm allowed to be able to have joy in my life, to be excited for the things that spark my interest, to be able to step into new discoveries.
Abraham Hicks talks about that so much. That 30 days of Hicks, man. Follow that joy. You deserve that.
That's your sovereignty. You were born with that. It's yours. Think of all
just
the
because
different,
you exist.
Well, think of all the different things you got to experience as a kid. I mean, I know you get your fair share of bad ones. Every kid does, but stepping away from that focus, think of all the awesome moments. Think of the ones that are really memorable, the ones that really stuck with you. Those were all moments where you got to be in the moment. You got to experience the experience. And more often than not, it was something that you weren't even aware of that happening. It just got planned and boom. You know, I mean, sometimes it's those longer ones. I've been wanting to do this for years and this is my chance, and all the more. Just think of the build up on that. You know? Yeah. So give yourself those moments. It's another way to reclaim your childhood. Reclaim your inner child. Reclaim yourself.
Do some healing of the inner child, man.
Yes. This stuff is very
scarcity in expression. You censor yourself. You dull your shine. You fear being too much.
Like my weird loud noises that I make randomly. I haven't had to do that in a while. In a long while. That tick is gone. For a while there, I just weird random noises.
I still get that.
I do from time to time, but it wasn't as bad. It's not as bad as it used to be.
You fear that if you take up space, there won't be enough room for others. Scarcity teaches self-abandonment. Abundance teaches embodiment. You're embodying you. You. Be you.
This
Babe,
time, go ahead.
be that big shine. Let it all out. It's going to, scare away the people that don't need to be around it, but it's going to attract all the ones that do.
And here's the thing. We're so worried about the ones that are running away. Like we're missing out on some opportunity. You're like, what if they were the one?
Have everyone like you.
Yeah, well, but that need to have everyone like you, for me, used to stem from like missed opportunities. What if that was my person? What if that person had this awesome thing going for him that I could have been a part of? Those kind of things. Like, it's kind of like in a video game where you want to explore every nook and cranny of an area, because what if you miss that one gold piece? Sitting at the bottom of a jar that you had no idea was there, and it's a jar, it's one gold piece, and like, goody for you. But at the end of the day, that's these people that are walking away. They're not walking away because they don't choose you or they don't like you. They're walking away because the energetic vibe is not on a frequency level that you guys can coexist together. And it makes it so much easier when you can recognize it like that, because it's not that you hate somebody. It's not that they hate you. They're just somewhere different. They can't reside where you're at because they haven't done the work. And then it's beautiful because then the people that you run into are the people that have done the work, or the people that are currently doing the work. And you'll see you have so much more in common with them. And you'll see that because they're learning and they're willing to take on what you know, and you're still learning, you're going to take on the things that they know, that you can build something meaningful and deep. It's a connection. It goes beyond just simple friendship.
You don't need to save everybody.
Nope.
But it's not even, I just want to say, it's not even like you're on this level and they're on this level, so we're looking down. It's like you don't have to come from a place of hate, or from there has to be a reason that we can't be friends. We're just on different levels, man. I'm going this way and you're going this way, and you're not trying to do the stuff that I'm doing.
I think a lot of that comes from the rejection that you got, that comes around dating. Even as a younger person, when you go up and you try to get somebody to date you and like, I want to be your boyfriend or what have you, and they're not interested, or somebody comes up to you and you're not interested, in the reaction that ensues afterwards, like that stays with you. And if it's something that goes uncorrected, because what child's gonna be like, no, you don't act like that, come right, and we can still be friends. Like, that doesn't happen, right? Not at that age. So as you continually habitually find those situations, you keep reacting that way, it starts bleeding into friendship. So now you're like, man, what if this person doesn't accept me as a friend? Or, oh man, what if this person reacts really wild because I don't want to be their friend?
That's so hard, dude, because that's where boundaries really come into play. And learning to say no to people, or learning to walk away.
Yeah.
Learning to walk away.
Yeah. That's a hard one.
That is a hard one. And man, letting go of friends has been my exercise as of lately, and it feels really good. It doesn't feel good at first, but like just like a workout, man. Like after the burn goes away, I feel good.
Well, and when you start to recognize the elements that start playing the role of why you're no longer connected to that friendship, then you
Or
can,
why you were hanging on.
yeah, well, either or, you can let them go with love. You're not resentful. You're not angry. You haven't pushed it to such a degree
And that's
of
where
like
that whole,
friction.
like, we're on these levels. I let go of people that aren't trying to get up here. If they're not willing to do the work and they're not trying to take the steps actively, I am trying to do this. And if you are purposely trying to hold me back
Well,
or surround me in
and that's
the
just
negative,
and that's just it. And maybe they're not trying to surround you in the negative necessarily. It's just
yeah,
much as just
it goes
they
to
bring
where I've done this work.
Yeah.
And so I'm up here and they've not done any of the work. They're not interested in any of the work. They won't acknowledge any of the work.
Like
we're just on different paths.
And at that point, yeah, and at that point, you're not like, I can't hang out with you because I'm better than you. I've done the work. It's like, okay, I see where you're at.
It's
I
almost
see
like
what
being
you need to
obsessed
do.
with the color blue, man. I am so obsessed with the color blue. I am so sick and tired of you talking about the color blue. I don't care about the color blue. I want to talk about red, black, and white. I am so over red, black, and white. I am on blue, man. Then why are we hanging out?
No.
I want to be focused on blue, and you want nothing to do with blue.
And that's where you can have your conversation. That's where you can be like, hey, look, I'm not trying to cut you out of my life because I don't want you in my life. I just recognize, like, look, these are the things that I'm doing. These are the things that you're doing, and I'm not seeing a lot of common ground in it. So for the time being, I probably won't reach out to you as much. Not because I don't want to, or well, maybe you do want to, but the energies aren't there. That's your conversation to have with them. But like,
it could be it. We don't have to not be friends. I just don't want to hang out all the time.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not cutting. It's finding the balance with every person. What can you handle with them and what can you not handle with them? Is the stuff that you can't handle with them so over the top and taxes you too much? Because if that's the case, you got to come out because you don't have enough for you. Or maybe they're just somebody that you can handle situationally. But the thing that I'm getting at, guys, is when you start stepping into this way of being, you start stepping into transparency. You start stepping into being upfront with people. You don't shy away from the hard conversations. And you realize as you get comfortable with that, you are teaching people how to be comfortable being self. So now you're going to this person and you can
teach people how to treat you.
Well, and it gives them a look. It gives them a look at their own life. You're not saying, I'm not calling you out for being a bad person. I'm letting you know though, like, I can't handle dealing with this part of you anymore.
And you set an example because people are watching you. They notice that you're pushing,
and
they're probably going to try some of the same things.
And you're actively showing them how to treat you in this manner. So it's not you shutting the door. It's you framing it out. Like, look, this is my doorway. Enter or don't. Like I can't keep just standing in front of this doorway talking to you, knowing that there's basically a wall between us.
I was listening to this podcast, and in the podcast they were talking about marriages and how there's this idea that as you're dating, you should be practicing for marriage. And in the same way, I feel like it can cross over into friendship because really you're just learning how to be with people, to have a relationship with another person outside of your family. So be it a relationship or a friendship, having these kinds of conversations, these confrontations, setting boundaries and seeing how you fit with other people. Yeah. It's something that you are constantly needing to practice so that you can have successful friendships, have successful relationships.
And as you start doing this, you're going to feel this wall that's been around you crumble down. You're going to feel yourself being more energetically open to receiving what people are bringing to the table. And I'm not saying you're going to take on their bad energy, but what I am saying is you will see, you will feel what the experience you're about to step into really is. And you can get excited or you can be like, that's not for me. That's what I love about not being attached. Practicing non-attachment doesn't mean not having emotions. It's just it's a finer degree of emotional regulation. And you no longer have to feel like, oh no, this is happening. Like, take my energy. I already know you're coming for it. It doesn't have to be that anymore. Now it can be like, whoa, hey buddy, you can have an apple, maybe two, but that's all I got. I've got other people. I've got other things. I've got plans, but I can give you this. Yeah. And then people start reacting to you different. People start coming at you differently. People you don't know just come at you in a whole different way because you are exuding authenticity in that fashion. Wow, we really stepped way away from scarcity mindset.
Well, we're going into abundance, dude. If we step into abundance, this is what happens.
This is.
You know, people do show up differently.
Yeah, for
things happen differently around you. You notice things differently because your mindset has changed. Yes. You get to look at the world through a different lens.
Yes, exactly. And for me, the wall around my emotions has recently experienced a big crumble, and it came from realizing that I was running away from feelings tied to a relationship, and it was like super intense and super, I don't know, and I reverted back to old habits, and then I happened to just have a conversation that really, well, I can't say I happened to have a conversation. I got called out. I got called out hard. I was told where I was missing it, and I was left up to me to do what I want with that information, and it gave me a big brain reset and helped me step past my fear and into this new possibility and new energy and this new outlook on life. It's wild. So you guys, like, it literally, it's just a choice away. Experiencing life on a whole different level is literally just a choice away. Each time you make that choice, you are enhancing that feeling.
Scarcity and control. That's where shit gets tight in the chest because control feels safe, right?
Yeah.
But it's not sovereignty. It's survival mode.
Where's the choking on the breadcrumbs? I really like that one. We choose control not because not because it's safe. It's just because we know how to not choke on the breadcrumbs or something to that extent. But it was like really, but that's what it was saying is like when you choose scarcity, when you choose control, you're doing it not out of this place of I know. It's this place of like, I know if I eat this, I'm not going to choke on it because I've eaten this before.
You micromanage. You plan every detail. You grip tight to people, to situations, because some broken part of you still believes if I let go, everything's going to fall apart.
Or if I don't show enough emotion towards this, people are going to judge me. I'm going to judge myself. I'm going to miss the lesson. I mean, there's myriads of self-defeating thoughts that we have. Start listening. Listen to yourself and just see what pops up. You know, I think the best way to start practicing what you've been brought to the awareness of is to just start paying attention to your reactions to every situation. Don't try to control them. Don't try to make them something else because you're just observe them. If you observe them every day, every time that you can remember to for the next 3 or 4 days, you're going to start getting a map of how to start thinking differently. You don't control it. You don't try to make the change right away.
Try to recognize where it's scarcity.
Yeah.
And as you observe it over the next few days,
it'll all fall
pinpoint it, recognize it, recognize the moments so that you can recognize them a little bit easier in the moment. And then speak your boundaries out loud.
Don't be afraid
out loud.
Don't be
even
afraid
if your voice shakes, even if it's awkward.
Don't be afraid to take the time to like step into what the fear is that you're feeling. You don't have to break it all down right there in the moment, but in the moment you're like, ooh, this is fear. Ooh, this is fear from, I don't like big crowds. So, okay, so I know that that's why I want to say no. So let me just hear them out. Maybe I can get behind the idea. Maybe I don't have to shut them down right away. Because more often than not,
invest in your joy.
Yeah, well, more often than not, like when you made your choice, you've already made your choice before that person's asked the question. You're like the moment that, or I should say, you've already made your choice the moment the question is asked.
Yep, there's that initial gut feeling.
Yep,
there's that yes or no,
and you'll know within the first 3 words whether you're gonna say yes or no. So when it's a no, ask yourself, Am I just jumping to the no, or do I already know this is a no?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And if I already know it's a no, is it from the head or is it from the stomach, the heart, the body, the intuitive feel? And then go from there.
Choose generosity, not from guilt, but from overflow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a really good. So, my ex aunt passed away, and she had to go. She thought she had to go pick up the puppy that night, and so she called me to see if I could go take Kinsey to her appointment. I had a place to be in Columbus, and then I had my eye appointment at 5, and I didn't really want to reschedule it because I scheduled this like 3 weeks ago, and I've been getting myself ready for it, been excited, la da. And so I had to sit down and have a talk with myself and really like break it down. All right, so I'm feeling guilt because she's having a moment of distress. She's got to do something while she's driving in the dark, and she doesn't have a way to have somebody else take care of the kids at a sooner time so that she can leave at a sooner time.
Obligation.
Yeah, so you're feeling obligated as a parent for your kids in a sense because you know that they're going to experience stuff from there. There's obligation as a baby daddy, trying to make sure I'm doing my part to make sure
or to the
that
previous
I'm being
relationship
present.
being there.
I mean, that there's a little bit of that, definitely. I could feel that, but then
it's almost like you've done it for them before, so you probably should again. Just because you did.
But once I whittled it all the way down, it came down to two things. It was one that I wasn't choosing to take my kid to an appointment and making Jory do it because I had a prior arrangement, right? And then the second one was wanting to be able to show up and not be the asshole for that person that's going through grief and having to do something so suddenly. And I didn't end up doing it. I ended up coming full circle and just say, she's got her support group. She's a big girl. I know it's hard and I know she's going through a hard time, but I'm going to let her figure this out. And I'm glad I did, because after it's all said and done, she doesn't even have to head up there until Thursday, until tomorrow to go pick up the dog, because other things had to happen first. But it's having that trust of like, okay, all right, we don't have to drop everything in that moment and give from a cup that is not going to be full for very long. So,
yeah. Give from overflow. Treat your body with reverence. If you need rest, take that rest, and don't feel guilty, or do your best not to feel guilty. Your body needs that. You deserve it.
And you'll find, man, like progress does not come from productivity.
Pleasure's not optional. It's fuel.
Oh, yeah.
It's fuel. Mm-hmm. If you run on empty for so long, those fumes are only going to get you so far.
Oh my gosh, I read something about healing that was like, remember, you guys, we're not healing to fix the pain and the heartache. We're healing to learn how to experience joy again. We're healing in order to have that emotional freedom. We're healing to learn how to act on a different system.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. So it's not about doing away with all your heartache, all your bullshit. It's about learning how to have joy again.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm saying. I should have shared it on the page. I don't know why I didn't.
Yeah, just let go of what you're gripping to with fear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's all I got, man. I think that's a good stopping point.
Switch your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Practice those things. Practice some of those things.
We'll pick up next week on more mind scarcity stuff. Until next time, guys, we bid you adieu. Au revoir. Farewell.